Authorities say a man who was going around stabbing passengers on a casino-bound tour bus in Connecticut was fatally shot by state police. Authorities say the unidentified man began attacking passengers around 10 last night on the interstate. That's when the bus driver flagged down a trooper at a construction site. We're told the suspect was acting aggressively toward the trooper and was shot when he refused to drop his weapon. He died at a hospital. 2 people were stabbed and another person suffered non-life-threatening injuries after being accidentally shot by the trooper. Now to the Cliffside rescue in Northern California. A young woman who drove off a mountain was plucked to safety after spending nearly a day trapped in a ravine. Amazing. NBC's Miguel Almaguer has our report.
The daring rescue came in the nick of time. Melissa Vasquez hoisted to safety after plunging 500 yards in her car down a cliff. When emergency responders found the 28-year-old, she had been ejected, laying face down in a ravine.
Their timely response was key in getting Melissa to Regional Medical Center of San Jose.
Vasquez was driving across this mountain road Monday when she flew over an embankment. Police say her OnStar system alerted authorities to the accident. Investigators then used a Find My Phone app, a tracking device from her iPad, to pinpoint her cell phone's general location. 15 hours later, rescue teams found her in thick brush after a night alone.
Technology had a large part to do with this. Not only her having that on her phone and having the iPad, but my ability to be able to take screenshots and get those screenshots out to searchers within minutes of me locating where she was.
Airlifted to a local hospital, Vasquez is suffering from serious injuries. But this morning, doctors say she'll survive. A dramatic crash with an incredible rescue. For today, Miguel Almaguer, NBC News, Los Angeles.
All right, so the big story weather-wise, we are going to be getting a Southwest Florida not-so-hot front, right?
A cold front, Southwest Florida style.
I like
Or as
that.
I like to call it, a not-so-warm front. We're not going to need our jackets, most likely, unless you have a low tolerance for the cold. I know you get cold very easily in the studio, and we're going to get temperatures as low as the low 60s for those of us closer to the beaches in US 41. And daytime highs only in the low to mid 80s. And what's more, we're going to see a very refreshing dip in humidity. So not nearly as humid here as we head through the second half of the week. Let's go ahead and track what's out there right now. And that's really not a whole lot. This morning, the shower and thunderstorm activity was pretty widespread with that moisture coming in from the Gulf of Mexico. But you can see for most of us right now, from Charlotte, Lee, down through Collier County, we are dry. We're tracking 2 little isolated spots of rain in the eastern Gulf of Mexico. These trying to inch closer toward our coastline, but they probably will not even make it. They'll probably weaken before they make it to our coast, still about 30 miles or so offshore. Here's the latest futurecast. This will take us through the next hour, giving us a projection of what the future radar is going to look like. So we'll start here at the current, away from the beaches. That's your first alert forecast.
Some Chamber of Commerce weather right there. Well, the man facing charges in the kidnapping and murder of an Arkansas real estate agent is speaking out. We have the interview with Aaron Lewis from behind bars at the Tucker Maximum Security Prison. NBC's Shannon Miller has the story.
I didn't kill her. I didn't murder her. And anything that did occur was an accident.
Strong statements from Aaron Lewis, the man who sits behind bars charged in the death of realtor Beverly Carter.
I never denied her going with me. As far as kidnapping, I've never kidnapped anybody.
Lewis stuck to his innocence in connection with Carter's death, now saying the whole thing was an accident.
How did you first meet Beverly, or how did you first hear about her?
Lewis declined to comment on details without his attorney's permission as to how he first met Carter, but did say this.
It didn't have nothing to do with her showing the home. Just a place to meet.
Investigators say Lewis first contacted the realtor about a home for sale, but Lewis says the meeting was not about making a sale.
It wasn't necessarily like an appointment.
The inmate went on to say Carter willingly got in the car with him.
The kidnapping's false. I mean, somebody goes with you of their own free will, they're not being kidnapped.
Deputies have said Carter's death was a crime of opportunity, but Lewis says that's not the case.
It's not as clean cut as they're wrapping it up to be. This woman died, And, well, we've got her in contact with this 7-time felon, so let's wrap it up all nice and neat.
Still, Lewis says he hurts from what happened and didn't know what to do.
The first thing you do is panic. And I mean, that's all that happened. I panicked.
Wow, Shannon Miller with that very interesting report. Now, Beverly Carter's family and Pulaski County investigators watched this entire interview before it aired. They did not want to comment. When we think of job benefits, we may think raises, bonuses, perhaps a 401k match. But 2 companies are taking your health care coverage a step further. Next at noon, we're talking about freezing your eggs complimentary of your boss. One of the biggest battles for women in the workplace, managing a career while starting a family. Well, now some forward-thinking companies are coming up with their own solution to the dilemma, and it's a story that just keeps blowing up and people are talking about. So Apple and Facebook, the first big American companies to pay for women who elect to freeze their eggs. We're getting the reaction from NBC's Stephanie Gosk.
Fertility science has gone through a revolution, radically changing the landscape for women who want to have children. 2 tech giants are offering a benefit that just 2 years ago was deemed no longer experimental: egg freezing. Apple and Facebook will offer up to $20,000 when done for non-medical reasons. Each round costs around $10,000, storage roughly $500 a year. Done at a young enough age, egg freezing can dramatically increase the chances of getting pregnant later in life.
If you come in to get pregnant, let's say at 42, 43, and we have eggs frozen from when you're 35, it's like we're setting the clock back 7 or 8 years, so it can be a huge advantage.
Fertility doctor Jamie Nautman got an email from a patient today, which she says kind of sums up the mood around the office. Subject: OMG. Just announced Facebook and Apple to cover egg freezing costs.
1,000 exclamation marks.
Dr. Nautman says the majority of patients who come in, and there are more and more each day, can't afford egg freezing.
What Facebook did, what Apple has done is going to be huge for women because it allows them the opportunity to do something that they may have never been able to do before.
The clock ticks, but just not quite as loud.
Yes, exactly, Stephanie.
Leah Jane Lavin asked her parents for money. She's gone through 2 rounds of egg freezing.
Ultimately, I just wanted an option. I want to focus on my career. I haven't met Mr. Right yet. And I wanted to know that when I was ready, I would be able to go back and I could have kids.
Lavin says a company that offers this kind of benefit could attract female employees.
Even more than salary these days, I always look at the benefits package.
Working women hoping to get pregnant at an older age may start asking their own employers to follow Apple and Facebook's lead. Stephanie Gosk, NBC News, New York.
As efforts to contain the deadly Ebola virus in hospitals fails once more, nurses, they're speaking up. They're scared they could be next. What they're doing to try to save themselves next on NBC2 News at noon. Plus, all eyes on that Florida race for governor as they go head-to-head to try and win your vote tonight. We'll outline the much-anticipated debate happening exclusively right here on NBC2.